You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
Hi, listeners. Taylor here. Before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to let you all know that this episode might be tough for some folks to listen to. During this season of Meat and Three, we are exploring themes surrounding the concept of home and how food helps us understand what a home is. The stories you'll hear today were reported and recorded back in December when we were deep in discussions of what home feels like, tastes like, and all of that good stuff. But a few of our HRN and Meat and Three community members are LA area based, and they and their own communities have been impacted by the recent fires devastating the area. Luckily, they are all safe, and we are incredibly grateful, but it's so important to us at HRN to make sure that we can extend care and support to folks beyond those in our immediate network. If you have the means to do so, please check out our show notes on today's episode for links to donate time and resources to those impacted. Home is more than just a feeling. It's also a very real sense of community, security, safety, and stability. If you are someone impacted and you need a moment to take care of yourself and your spirit, please feel free to come back to this episode when you have the capacity. I'm sending lots of love from our community to yours.
One of the greatest compliments I've received as a chef in all of the years I've been doing this is when a client told me something reminded them of home. Home is a feeling that's completely universal. It takes on many different shapes, sounds, and smells that all come together all at once. In an instant, I can take someone there. I've taken them to a place in their memory, and I can take them there with just one bite. That's the moment that I look for.
And what sweet moments those are. You just heard from Kiki Canuto, a private chef living in Los Angeles, and one of our Meat and Three reporters. Kiki perfectly described one of the most powerful aspects of food, its ability to transport us through space and time. Throughout our lives, the concept of home may be constantly evolving as we, and the places we frequent, change over time. You have to wonder, is home where we're from? Or is it a place we've made our own? Whether you have to take a plane, a car, or a bite of food to get there, home can be wherever you want it to be. This episode, we're venturing into kitchens and restaurants across the country to explore the dishes that bring home to us. I'm Taylor Early, and this is Meat and Three on HRN.
Meat and Three.
Meat and Three.
Meat and Three.
One meat, three sides.
Food, news, and storytelling.
A square meal for your ears.
Meat and Three.
Here at HRN, we have a lot of cooks in our kitchen. But what Chef Kiki serves goes well beyond plates of yummy food. She uses her culinary know-how to offer her clients a little piece of home with every bite.
It's 10:30 p.m. in Los Angeles. I'm in bed like the grandma that I am, and just as my head hits the pillow, I get a text that says, "Chef, can you make me that chicken that I like tomorrow?" I quickly respond, "Of course. I got you. See you tomorrow." As a private chef, I'm often asked by clients to make particular dishes. Whether they're craving certain bites, renditions of meals that they've eaten in different countries, restaurant replicas, they're usually things that challenge and excite me, day after day. But the dishes that move me the most are the ones that remind my clients of home. You see, the people I cook for often have moved from another state or country to be in the City of Angels. No matter the distance traveled, the one thing they crave is a taste of something that feels familiar and comforting. Recently, I was in a particularly nostalgic mood. Feeling in a bit of a funk, I longed for the one thing that could console me, my mom's curry chicken. I've taken it upon myself over the years to figure out how to make this piece of home for whenever I need it. So I threw on my apron and I cooked it for my client, hoping it would go over well. The sharp aroma of pressed garlic filled the kitchen, sautéing quietly in a bath of Portuguese olive oil. The crackle of chicken skin crisping in the pan nestled between the ribbons of onions. Chicken stock melting over the seasoned thighs. Yukon potatoes tumbling into the golden bath of curry, simmering for hours, growing in flavor with the passing of time. Once I finished, I plated up a bowl for them, because everything is better in a bowl. Surprisingly, this dish brought me and my client into deep conversation over the kitchen countertop. With the gentle murmurs of the extra stew in the background, we chatted about all things chicken. The various sorts of curries you can make with it, our obsession over bone-in meats, our shared love for dishes that simmer on the stove all day long, our ode to chicken, if you will. In that short period of time, I realized that this dish brought them back to their childhood. After a long day of playing outside and building up an appetite, they'd run home to fill their insatiable craving for Grandma's chicken curry. For me, this dish reminded me of why I started cooking in the first place. I learned my mother's recipes by cooking right alongside her. She poured herself into everything she made, from the breakfast bundt cakes to large family dinners. Every ounce of her went into these dishes, which taught me what food ought to feel like. Food has the superpower to change how we feel wherever we are. Whether we've been there before or are a newcomer, it always connects us, some way, somehow, back to home.
Wow. I'll have a bowl of whatever Kiki's serving. That sounds so soothing to the soul, doesn't it? From one comfort dish to another, our next story highlights a food that's close to home, wherever you're from. Pizza. Versatile, universal. When the question is pizza, the answer is always yes. Ash Tyler explores Chicago's unique pizza culture and tries to get to the bottom of which slice is best.
Whether we're at home binge watching Netflix, gathering with friends, or super hungry after a night out, pizza is always a good idea. For my husband and me, every Friday is pizza night at our house. But when it comes to style, here in Chicago, that's when things get a little saucy.
I prefer deep dish because it has more cheese and you get more sauce and you just get more of the flavors, I think.
Tavern. It's because deep dish it's too much.
On a day-to-day basis, we eat tavern style. That's Chicago-style pizza. Deep dish is for celebrations or when people are in from out of town.
Deep dish, because I do like everything thick.
I'm from the south side of Chicago. It's ingrained in you. Square cut, thin crust, extra cheese, well done pizza is Chicago pizza. Deep dish pizza is not Chicago pizza.
Before things get too heated, technically, both styles are Chicagoan, but there is a clear favorite.
I've been doing it 27 years. I can see the locals want the tavern style, thin crust.
That was Paul Bale, co-owner of Palermo's of 63rd. A pizzeria started on the south side of Chicago when his grandparents and uncles immigrated from Italy to the city in 1961. This place not only serves some of the best slices in the city, but holds a special place for me and my family. My husband worked here for about 10 years growing up and still helps out on the holidays when things get busy. Not to mention, we had our engagement party and wedding reception here.
Everybody that works there treat them like family and they treat us like family.
Now back to the hot dish. Tavern style is a thin crust pizza that started in 1940 Chicago. It's cut like a grid with square pieces instead of the usual triangular shape.
Tavern style is like when they started at the bars because it was cheaper. My grandpa said, we're opening a place, costs are very tight, so let's make a economic pizza and make it good.
And they still try to keep that same recipe as in 1961.
We have a sweeter sauce, and it's not just the ingredients, but it's the kind of tomatoes we use. We use blocks of cheese, and we're one of the very few pizzerias that still do that. And we use a whole milk cheese, and we grind it, and you can tell the difference. And then we make our dough fresh daily. We also have the stone ovens, which is a major part of the pizza because you kind of get that crispiness on the bottom as opposed to an air ride oven, which is a rotating oven.
So from scratch every day?
Yes, so it's every day except for Tuesdays.
As you can hear, pizza transcends taste, background, and region, weaving itself into our lives through cherished memories, favorite spots, and go-to orders. Maybe it's this universal appeal that sparks such strong opinions. even when styles seem worlds apart. But at its heart, pizza is simple. Bread, sauce, cheese, and your favorite toppings. However you slice it, it's a little taste of home.
Oof, I'm hungry. We'll be right back with more Meat and Three after a brief snack break.
This episode is brought to you by Wisconsin Cheese. There's a reason when you think of Wisconsin, you think cheese. Cheese is a huge part of Wisconsin's history and future. In Wisconsin, the state of cheese, the tradition of cheese-making excellence began 180 years ago, before Wisconsin was recognized as a state. Immigrants traveled to settle in this lush green hills of Wisconsin, bringing their cheese-making traditions with them. These storied skills, combined with the freshest milk available, created a cheese-making culture that is uniquely Wisconsin. Wisconsin's 1,200 cheesemakers, many of whom are third and fourth generation, continue to pass on old-world traditions while adopting modern innovations in cheese-making craftsmanship. Find your next favorite cheese at wisconsincheese.com.
Welcome back to Meat and Three. Up next, we're going on a special food crawl. Huynh is eating her way through one of the tastiest stretches of road in Atlanta, Buford Highway. It's home to immigrants from all over the world. And in a region where Southern food is king, this is the place where you can snag a taco at a Mexican taqueria, savor a Vietnamese banh mi, or devour dim sum, all along a 10-mile stretch of highway.
When you think of highways, you're probably picturing miles of asphalt, exit signs, and cars going over 70 miles an hour, right? But for Buford Highway, that couldn't be further from the truth. Originally a 2-lane road, it's expanded to include 7 lanes, ending in the town where it got its namesake. Over the years, it's evolved to become the heart of a vibrant community.
It is a place for continuous first generations of immigrants. People of our own ethnicities are there, they speak the same language. We also were introduced to other cultures that we might not have. There's nothing fancy about it. It just feels like home.
That's Lily Pabian, the executive director of We Love Buford Highway, and I definitely agree with her as someone who spent a good deal of time on this beloved stretch. Come along as I show you some of my favorites that have withstood the test of time. Our first stop, El Rey del Taco, is known for making handmade corn tortillas since 2002. I'm here on a busy Saturday afternoon and it is packed. Inside, the walls are lined with vibrant and colorful mules. They're known for their freshly made tacos.
I'll do the chorizo, the asada, and I'm going to try the tongue, the lingua. Okay.
The area was a mostly white, blue-collar neighborhood. In the 1970s and 80s, white people scared of diversifying communities fled to the suburbs. In the wake of this white flight, immigrants moved in and it became a hub for one of the largest Mexican communities in the South. These new arrivals didn't just bring their families, they brought their recipes. El Rey del Taco is a testament to that legacy. Now we're headed over to Lee's Bakery, one of my favorite spots, serving banh mi since 2006.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
We're
paying, we've eaten and we're paying.
Okay, so this is the...
Dine in over there.
Okay, got it. Wow, it's so packed today.
Buford Highway was the first place I was exposed to so many Vietnamese people. Growing up in a small southern town, I rarely saw anyone who looked like me. The food instantly made me feel at home.
Full sandwich or half sandwich, please?
Half sandwich?
Half sandwich, which kind of sandwich you like?
Cái bánh mì đặc biệt.
The main wave of immigration began after the fall of Saigon in 1975. The Vietnamese population grew throughout the 1990s, many coming from California attracted to Atlanta's booming economy. Buford Highway's prominence as a food mecca began to grow as well.
Back in the day, we didn't have social media. We just show up and you experience it. When we started seeing more of these food critics, they would come to Buford Highway and they would do a write-up. It was really cool to see that. Places that we'd go because everybody was going, and it was always word of mouth. I really think it was during that time, early 90s.
Oh, the pho has arrived.
Chị có món combo cho phải không?
Dạ, cái combo.
Combo là nổi tiếng là nước Mỹ rồi đó. Nổi tiếng ở nước Mỹ là đưa qua.
It's always nice to see a familiar face. He tells me Lee's Bakery is famous for their combo, where you can get a small bowl of pho with half a banh mi. For me, banh mis have always been a special treat. My family would drive up 4 hours from my hometown just to do our grocery shopping here, and then we'd get banh mis for the road. Nothing beats getting 6 for the price of 5. Last on our stop is Canton House, one of the longest running places for dim sum, and it's just down the street.
Hello.
I'm joined by Long Nguyen, who grew up around the area.
My parents and I immigrated from Vietnam, as refugees back in 1980, and then we came to Atlanta 1989. Do you want shrimp or pork?
I like pork.
Okay, can you get that? Yes, please.
I think the last time I went here was in college. This was where we would kind of go for special occasions, social gatherings, weekend brunch too,
Yeah.
I remember going here with my parents as well.
This area it's home. It literally is this is what I've always known. All the grocery shopping my parents would do. That was really where all the real deal immigrants would go, because that would be it was cash only. They accept the EBT, and most immigrants come over here and they rely on food stamps, right?
But recently there's been a reversal. People are coming back into the city to places like Buford Highway for its history and culture. New restaurants geared toward millennials and younger crowds are making the area cool and attracting bigger business.
I will say that the mom pops have a harder time if you are not marketing yourself to the current clientele.
It's one of the main growing pains facing Buford Highway. How to evolve without making it harder for the mom and pops to succeed.
You've got to make sure your food is pretty. You got to make sure your place is pretty. You're not going to get the people out of their houses unless there's something different than what they can do at home. Whereas I think before all the Instagram and the social media, it was just, I want a really good beef noodle soup and I know exactly where to get it.
Organizations like We Love Buford Highway are making sure that doesn't happen by championing the mom and pops and preserving the essence of this area as a home for immigrant communities.
In a place like Buford Highway, where everybody just loves Buford Highway for the food, but, are we really willing to love it deep enough to start pulling back the covers, and really looking under and seeing, what the realities are? Without these mom and pops, we wouldn't have this identity.
It reminds me of what Lon was saying earlier about the business owners.
They're here for that independence and that ownership. And I think that's what they're trying to preserve at Buford Highway. I feel like for a lot of people, this really served their American dream.
This crawl has shown me that Buford Highway isn't just a place, it's a symbol of resilience and the power of immigrant foodways in shaping the identity of the New South, one that's constantly changing, evolving, and growing, thanks to the food, the culture, and the people who call it home.
Just over 100 years ago, in 1924, a culinary miracle occurred. The cheeseburger was invented at an unassuming Pasadena roadside stand. For our last story, we hear more about this meaty moment in history from Jessie Nicely, who just so happens to be a burger girl in a burger world.
Most people probably associate Pasadena with NASA or the Rose Bowl, but to me, Pasadena is first and foremost a burger town. The passion instilled by cheeseburgers in LA at large is so strong that it spawned Team Burger, a club of burger enthusiasts that are constantly seeking out, in their own words, new, burgtastic discoveries.
We are cheeseburger people, and I am very proud that we are from the state and next to the city that invented, to our knowledge, the cheeseburger.
The cheeseburger. Born Pasadena, California.
There are a few different stories about how cheese first made its way onto a burger patty. As it came to be known, the aristocratic burger, the original hamburger with cheese, was invented at a roadside burger stand called The Right Spot. Credit for the invention goes to Lionel Clark Sternberger, the 16-year-old son of the restaurant's owner, H.S. Sternberger. The story goes two ways. In one, Lionel added cheese in an attempt to save a scorched burger. In the other, a hungry customer decided to experiment and asked to try a classic burger with cheese. Either way, that simple addition opened up a whole new world.
I'm never craving a hamburger. I am always craving a cheeseburger.
That part.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want a hamburger.
I can't imagine walking into a place and it's like, yes, I choose to have this without cheese.
Yeah. It's just demonstrably be better every single time.
Before moving to SoCal, I was totally ignorant of Pasadena's burger history. But I immediately noticed there were a ton of burger stands around. Besides the oldest standing In-N-Out location, there's Super Burger, Pie 'n Burger, Tops Burger, its rival, the original Tops, and those are just a handful of the options within city limits. But does having a lot of something mean you can lay claim to it? It's hard to imagine one place being able to say it's the home of something as ubiquitous as the cheeseburger.
I definitely believe that they were probably the first to do it and then market it as, look at this new thing we have created.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm certain they couldn't have been the first guy to ever decide, hey, you know what? Let's take this ground beef sandwich we've created and put a piece of cheese on it.
Whether the Sternbergers officially created the cheeseburger or not, the city of Pasadena has leaned into it, even going so far as to lay a commemorative plaque at the former location of The Right Spot in 2017. And while Pasadena got us started with the classic 100 years ago, burgers have continued to evolve far beyond the original, leaving their hometown in a bit of a rut. Holding the title of home of something also comes with the burden of sticking to tradition, often at the cost of being left behind while others innovate.
As much as I love Pasadena as a city, none of my hottest burgers on the list are from places that are going to be in Pasadena.
While the future of cheeseburgers may lay beyond Pasadena, we all have to start somewhere. I'll always be eternally grateful to the Sternberger family for their culinary traditions, and I can't think of a better way to pay homage to a bit of burger history than to enjoy one here in the home of the cheeseburger.
If you have an opportunity, go to Pasadena, go see this plaque, stand in the place where The Right Spot first existed and brought this burger from Lionel Sternberger and and his sons.
Yeah.
Go visit it. It's cool.
That's our show. Thanks for listening. Learn more about the guests and topics we touched on this week by checking out our show notes. This episode of Meat and Three was reported by Kiki Canuto, Ash Tyler, Huynh, and Jessie Nicely. Our lead producers on this episode were Jessie Nicely and Zariel Grullon, with support from Sam Gerardi. Our executive producers are H. Conley and me, Taylor Early. Meat and Three is engineered by Sam Gerardi. Our theme song was composed by Breakmaster Cylinder. This program is supported in part by public funds from the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs in partnership with the City Council. Meat and Three is powered by Simplecast. Meat and Three is a production of Heritage Radio Network, the world's pioneer food radio station. Learn more at heritageradionetwork.org and follow us at heritage_radio and at meaty.gram. And please stay in touch. Whether you have a story idea or just like to say hey, write us at ideas@meatand3.nyc, and that's all spelled out.